So, for the last 10 years, I've been standing defiant when it comes to laying down the real miles on the long road, aka going all the way and back on a platform that was never designed to do so. My garage these days consists of the true iron, an FXR, an early year Dyna, a late year Dyna, a lowrider ST, a Pan America, and of course, a modern Road Glide. All of these bikes differ vastly and stand apart, but they all are set up to achieve two common goals. Number 1, thrive within the brutal riding conditions of New York City. Number 2, crush heavy miles on the bike trips. As I progressed through the years achieving this standard with multiple builds, the comments and the DMs would flow in.
Hey bro, how tall are your bars?
Bro, I love the videos, but how tall is windshield?
Hey bro, what foot pegs are those?
Is that suspension 13.5 inches? Bro, you like that seat?
We often joke around about these sentiments, but the truth is, they're actually really important questions for anyone who is serious about dialing in their bike properly. At the end of the day, that bike could sound great and look great, but if it doesn't handle well, it's not even worth throwing a leg over. So yeah, in this video we're going to talk about the modifications I typically make to get my bikes dialed in and handling the way I need to for my riding style as a distance rider based out of New York City. As I mentioned above, I have a garage consisting of some vastly different frames and models of bikes, but when it comes down to truly dialing them in correctly, I found that it comes down to 5 main things: the bars, the fairing, the foot controls, the suspension, and the seat. Making the correct choices within these 5 crucial components can be the difference of you getting the most out of your motorcycle or failing to meet its true potential. These choices all contribute to your general riding position, which for me, I prefer a tight and aggressive riding position that also allows for comfort and sustainability. This means I'm striving to get my legs at near 90-degree angles and my arms parallel to where I don't have to reach too far for my bars. Speaking of bars, that's probably where it all starts. As you can see here, I'm running my Brooklyn Brawlers made from Indian Larry Cycles. These 10-inch risers also offer a slight pullback, which truly create a perfect riding position. And of course get bonus points for keeping my gauges where I like them most, straight in front of me. On some of my bikes, such as my lowrider ST, I have to go even further than just getting bars with a pullback, using a modified triple tree base plate to offer an even more aggressive pullback. Now when it comes down to your fairing, number 1, I always prefer a fixed fairing. This allows for the least amount of drag when it comes to moving your bars. For windshields, I'm a big fan of Clockworks, but it's kind of trial and error with windshields for you to get some wind, but not too much where there's helmet buffeting. Once again, the fairing is key for those heavy mile days while also allowing for easy mobility of your bars. So now we're going to talk about foot controls, a component that is often overlooked. In terms of having the most leverage over your bike and maintaining an aggressive riding position, you're going to want to go with either mid controls or forward mids. Now, if you're really tall, then you may just find that you need to run forward controls. It is what it is. If you're mostly on the highway anyway, this might not be the worst thing. But again, for me in the riding I do, it's always going to be either mid controls or forward mids. My FXDX and my FXR both have true mids, but for my heavy distance trips, I actually prefer forward mids, which are basically mids just 1 or 2 inches forward. This allows for a slightly more sustainable riding position without sacrificing handling. I also always run a crash bar so I could stretch out if I need to on those longer days. Having to go toe to toe with the NYC chaos on the daily, for suspension I generally prefer the tallest options that offer the most clearance. The king is obviously the Pan America Special with that tall adaptive suspension, but for my cruisers, I generally always run either Öhlins or Legends, and generally for height it's usually 13 inches or taller. Finally, your seat can not only be a true game changer in regards to comfort, but can also vastly affect your riding position. I prefer the Saddlemen SDC Pro on all of my bikes as it supports a true upright position while also moving me slightly forward in the saddle closer to my bars. All of these factors combined create not only a truly aggressive, but also a sustainable riding position that meets me where I stand as a distance rider laying down the heavy mile days. There's always going to be upgrades such as exhaust that's going to get a lot of attention, but again, if the bike doesn't handle and sit right, then who cares how it sounds or how fast it goes. Once again, I want to give a shout out to J&P Cycles for sponsoring this video, and be sure to check out my landing page over on their website for more details on everything that I mentioned. Take your time to dial in your bike properly, practice a positive mental attitude, pay the iron price, and on that, FXDLS Brooklyn is out.
Goodbye.